The following production is brought to you by the Talkin' Buds Leaf Show.
Here we go. Talkin' Buds Leaf Show, episode 292. Coming at you the day after the Toronto Maple Leafs defeat the Florida Panthers in Game 1 of the second round series by a score of 5-4. Just like a crazy bananas up and down game for 3 periods. Do you want to start with recapping the game? Do you want to start with Sam Bennett fucking taking out Anthony Stolarz? And we learned just before we came on here today that he will not face supplemental discipline because if you fire a guy... I saw someone point this out on Twitter right now. This is how fucked the NHL is, okay? Last series, there was a suspension for a player firing a puck at the opposing goalie in warm-up. Now, in this series, you can elbow a guy in the head, causing him to leave on an ambulance and vomiting from a head injury. You're good. No supplemental discipline.
Yeah.
What a fucking joke this league is.
Yeah, well, first of all, I just want to say, was that a must-win game or was that a fucking must-win game for that hockey team?
Oh, was it? Jeez. It sure was, buddy.
I thought they needed to win that first game because you had to inject some belief into this group. You had to. I honestly believe, because we didn't really do a series preview going into it. If they lost that first game, I think it would have been curtains already. They needed that little shred of confidence so bad from getting that win in Game 1. And I know it all came with a bunch of shit with it, but I don't know. The Bennett thing, it's like I was watching the highlights this morning and they were running the Sportsnet was running all the incidents he's had over the past 3 years of questionable dirty plays. And that play's tough. This guy, I kept texting last night being like, this guy's an artist. And and what I mean by that is if you watch that replay, it really doesn't look like anything. He obviously makes contact with his head, but it's not, he didn't drive it in there. He didn't wind up. He wasn't skating extremely fast. It was such a smart, I'm in this area and I'm just going to stick my arm and my hand out a little bit here and get some contact. And he's just the GOAT at that. He's the GOAT at just...
Dude, the Florida Panther team. Did you see the highlight that's going around right at the end of the game with Matthew Tkachuk trying to slew foot Mitch Marner?
Yeah. It's just it's crazy how he just knew exactly where he was and what he was doing in that moment. He knew he was right beside him in that moment. And then just his little snaky left turn, just oh, I didn't see you there. Oh my, yeah. They are the Ric Flairs of the NHL.
The Florida Panthers have played 6 games in this playoffs, and it has been nothing but headshots, dirty hits. Ekblad doesn't play in Game 1 last night because he's still serving a suspension for trying to kill Brandon Hagel last series. This team, I've got a couple hot takes for you right now, and I'm going to lay them on, and then we're going to talk about the game because I thought the first 2 periods of that hockey game, this was some of the best hockey I've ever seen this Leaf team play, and I don't want that to fall by the wayside to talk about the fucking Florida Panthers, but I'm going to say it, okay? I would say in terms of hockey podcasts, you and I are not people who complain about stuff like this. We love tough hockey. We love rough hockey. It's part of the game. It's a physical game. You're going to get hurt. We love dropping the mitts. We love giving a guy a shove after the whistle. You want to give a guy a little shot in the back. Go for it. I'm totally fine with that, okay? You and I have sung Sam Bennett's praises on this podcast. We loved watching him at the Four Nations play for Team Canada. We've been fully on board with Brad Treliving pursuing him in the offseason. But 2 things can be true. We've liked what we've seen from him in the past, but at the same time, this guy's a fucking dirty hockey player and he plays to hurt people. Like you were saying this morning that you were showing all the examples. 2 years ago, he drives Matthew Nye's head into the ice, concusses him, and knocks him out of the series.
The Marchand one last year was crazy. And then And then they showed one in 2021 where he rams Blake Coleman from behind and just destroys him. It's like, oh man.
Like this dude is deliberately trying to hurt people. Like I'm sorry, you can't. And yes, was the Stolarz thing this like vicious, fast paced Randy Savage elbow? No, it wasn't.
No,
but and yes, he did take a shot off the melon earlier in the game, which probably triggered some of the concussion symptoms he was having. It was still a dirty play, and he knew exactly what he was doing. And this is the type of guy Sam Bennett is. He won a Stanley Cup with Anthony Stolarz less than a year ago. This was his teammate.
Yeah.
And this guy has no problem going out there last night and trying to take a cheap shot to put the Leafs starting goalie out of the game. And he succeeded.
Yeah, he did it.
It just is what it is.
That's why he's an artist.
You want to talk about what Matthew Tkachuk did to Mitch Marner? Here's my other take for you. We saw for the first two periods last night, I think the Leafs, when they're at the top of their game, can beat this Florida team. They're way faster. It's not even close. And they've got more higher end skill up top than Florida does. Does Florida play a harder style and can be a better checking team? Absolutely. But I think when the Leafs, you saw in the first two periods last night, when the Leafs are firing on all cylinders, they absolutely can beat this Florida team. And I think Florida knows it. And so what they're going to do is they're going to resort to cheap shots, trying to injure people, and doing things like what Matthew Tkachuk did at the end of the game last night, which is trying to get in Mitch Marner's head and trying to intimidate him, to get him thinking about and being worried about where he is on the ice at all times. And that's how they're going to play. And Craig Berube has done a phenomenal job of keeping his team focused.
It's the Conn Smythe winner.
Yes.
We're changing the trophy so anybody could win it, and he's my favorite for the Conn Smythe right now.
His number one job today and tomorrow is to get these guys in a room and to say, listen, they know that when we are playing our game, we can beat them. So this is what they're going to resort to trying to do. Keep your head up, keep your wits about you, and play your game, because that's the only way. Don't beat yourselves a la taking a too many men on the ice penalty. Don't get sucked into taking a retaliatory penalty. I thought the officials, even though some of the calls last night were fucking insane, I thought the officials tried to set the tone and were like, we're not going to put up with any bullshit. And they were using their whistles all night. They're going to have to get the power play figured out. We're going to talk about that later. But it is so important that if you're going to beat this team, keep your eye on the prize, and that means not getting sucked in, and that means not getting intimidated by this team trying to hurt you.
Yeah. And that's what you just said right there is why it was so important for them to win this game, because going into this series, they were serious underdogs, serious, and nobody gave them a chance. So it was so important for them to show at some point in this game that they can play with this team and that they can beat this team. And for the first 40 minutes, I have never seen this version of the Toronto Maple Leafs break the puck out as easy and as efficient as they did for 40 minutes. Like, I thought they were fantastic. They were forechecking. It was really important. They almost went over the top in showing everybody that if they are playing at their best, that they can beat these teams. Because honestly, going into the series, I think even if they did play their best, they couldn't beat this team. So that's why it was that just they needed to inject some belief in themselves and this fan base. And that's why that first 40 minutes was so important. And also, Florida was fucking terrible last night for the first bit of that game. Like, Tkachuk was terrible as he did nothing. You know who they sorely miss on the back end is Brandon Montour. I noticed that was the number one thing I noticed about the Panthers last night is it was Seth Jones, and that was it. Like, I didn't really notice anyone else other than the time Kulikov almost killed Holmberg. But like, their decor is, I know they're getting Ekblad back, but their decor is not as intimidating, as scary as it was 2 years ago, in my opinion.
100% agree. I think as a team, they're not, like I said on our last episode, if you look if you fire up film of the last year's Stanley Cup final and you look at how the Edmonton Oilers had success against this team, it was doing what the Leafs did last night. It's out skating them. This is not a fast hockey team. They want to drag you into the mud. They want to slow everything down. They want to check you. They want to take shots at you after they want to get in your head and force you to play their game. The Leafs came out. Craig Berube, for all the talk we've had in previous years about not starting on time, not being ready to play, the Leafs came out absolutely rocket to start that game last night. They were fired up. He had them dialed in. They were in on the forecheck. All four lines were going. It was as good as I've seen them look all season. Like all season. That first period in particular was the best period this hockey team has played all year.
Yeah, it just makes it a series. Like it's just like now it feels like the playoffs almost like just started.
Yes.
Because that first round was just I couldn't even enjoy it. Like I almost couldn't enjoy it because they just had to win. They just had like there was no excuse. They had to win that series. And then this series they go in and you're like, fuck, I don't know if they have a chance to beat this team. And then last night they just play so well. And for the first time in this playoff, like you start to be like they could win this series. Like they can. It's going to be extremely tough, and Florida's going to come up flying in game 2. But it gave you a little nugget, and it just now the playoffs have started, and here we go. Now we can all get on board, and this team's so hateable too. They're so easy to cheat.
Dude,
like,
I'm sorry. You and I have been very, very, I'm sure, like we're in the playoffs now, so there's a lot of people who check out our show that are fans of the other team. Like we had a lot of Sens fans on our last, so there's going to be some Panthers fan watching this. And I want to say, like, you and I have, no one from an opposing fan base has pumped the Florida Panther tires this year more than you and I have. Yeah. No one. We've been like, this hockey team is like, this is one of the toughest hockey teams we've ever seen. I hate this team.
Yeah. They have it all.
Them. Yeah, I hate
especially
them.
With Marchand out there wheeling around on the third line. Yeah. It's like, fuck you, man.
And I
hate you so much.
Nothing more than for the Leafs to bear down and get this done. And to your point, last night showed that they are able to do that.
Yeah, 100%. I didn't think they had that in them. I really didn't. No. I did not expect that at all. I didn't think they had it in them. So the fact that they were able to put together a performance and make Bob look ordinary and the way they broke the puck out. Like, when do they ever do that? They don't do that against the New York Islanders. Like
no,
I've never seen them break the puck out better ever in my life. I've never seen it.
That's what I mean, though, man. They were dialed last night.
That's why Craig Berube is the Conn Smythe winner.
Couple standout performances for me. I think William Nylander. I thought William Nylander was more intense in that game last night than he was for the entire Ottawa series. I thought I've always said about him, you can tell within the first shift what version of Willie you're going to get, and he scored 30 seconds into the game, and after that, he was hounding pucks all night. He did not look intimidated at all. Another guy that took some shrapnel a little bit in the Ottawa series until he scored a big goal in Game 6 was Max Pacioretty. You absolutely need Max Pacioretty in the lineup every night against this team. He's a guy that can reciprocate with a big hit. He's a guy that's not going to be intimidated. He's seen it all. He's not going to be intimidated by anything this Florida team throws at him. You cannot put Nick Robertson on the ice against this Florida Panther team. You can't do it.
I think the book's closed on that debate.
Yes. Yeah. I thought Matthews played well. I thought Marner was good. I think at times he looks, again, somebody's going to get mad at me for, I'm not carving him. I'm saying at times he looks like he doesn't want to engage in the rough stuff, but he still played well. He still got into the forecheck. He set guys up for the goal.
I still think it's like Nylander to me looks the same as he does all the time. Like from regular season to playoff, he's still lacking a bit of intensity sometimes, but he still kind of looks the same. Marner still can't really find that sweet spot of just being effective. He did win that fast little puck battle along the boards to get the puck to Nice, which was extremely important. But yeah, there's still a little. He just hasn't found his playoff swag still. Like he's still just searching for something to just take him to that next level. I don't know what's going to do it, but
Matt Nyes, again, another beautiful goal.
That goal was unbelievable. Like,
Yeah.
come on. That was one of the nicest goals I've ever seen a Leaf player score in a playoff game. What a goal. That was incredible.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
He's
Jesus.
That guy is all world, man. Like he is, but
Yeah,
I don't think
timing, like that backhand, that was gross. That was, against one of the best goalies in the world. That was nasty.
Yeah, you and I have said all there is to say about Matthew Nyes. He's unbelievable. He's my favorite hockey player.
Yeah.
Like he said, like I am when he signs his extension this offseason, I am getting a number 23 jersey. He is my favorite hockey player. There's no two ways about it. The NBA 82 game grind is done, and now the real fun begins. The NBA playoffs are here. And it's time for all the high-stakes drama, clutch moments, and jaw-dropping plays.
I can't wait. If you're looking to make the playoffs even more exciting, DraftKings Sportsbook has you covered as an official sports betting partner of the NBA.
Try placing a bet on your favorite player's performance. Will they drop 30 points, 40, or more? It's your call.
Here's something special for first-timers. New DraftKings customers bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly.
Make it a playoff run to remember with DraftKings. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code THPN. That's code THPN for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/ice.
Okay, let's talk about the elephant in the room here. You never know what the situation is with these head injuries. Stolarz was taken to the hospital last night on a stretcher. On Twitter, ex-WWE star, now head injury.
Chris Nowinski.
Chris Nowinski was talking about was sort of sharing the videos and was sort of assessing what he was seeing, saying things like, if you start vomiting after a head injury, that's really, really serious.
Get to the emergency room.
Yeah. Yes. So you have no idea how long this is going to go. There's no timeline on a head injury. I don't think we're seeing him again for the rest of this series, which means it's Joe Woll's net. You texted me last night. You said this is where having a tandem is important, and this is where Joe Woll is so important. If you look at the body of work through the season, Stolarz was the better goalie, and that's why he got the starting job in the playoffs. But it's not like he vastly outperformed Joe Woll. And I have been on record as saying is I think the ceiling for Joe Woll is higher. I think Joe Woll, at his best, can be an elite Vezina caliber goaltender in this league. Some of the goals last night you didn't love. However, the dude hasn't played in 18 days and he's coming off the bench ice cold, not ready to play. So you give him a mulligan on that. But Joe Woll has to take the ball here and run with it, because we are one misstep away from Dennis Hildeby taking over in the second round of the playoffs against the defending Stanley Cup champion.
Are you secretly like the biggest Joe Woll fan of all time?
I think that like
Stolarz, you love him.
I think Stolarz is. I think this season Anthony Stolarz was the better goaltender. Like no two ways about it, and he earned and deserved to be the number one guy going into the playoffs, 100%. And if he's healthy, he's still in, and you ride with him until you're in a situation where you're like, ooh, we might have to take a look at this. However, I believe, and I will die on this hill, when Joe Woll is at his best, I think this dude is capable of winning a Vezina trophy. I think I think his ceiling is that high.
I first of all, you and Kiprios just manifested this whole situation.
No, I'm not.
Someone literally texted me this morning, and she'll be thrilled that I've mentioned her text. She said that You fully manifested this happening.
No, absolutely not. I did not do that. I was
like you didn't think Sam Bennett was gonna rub.
No.
Yeah, you just thought it was gonna be a performance issue.
I was seething about that still am, and it's like it sucks. Like the dude's fucking puking on the side. Like that's brutal, man. You don't want to see that. And then after like he's getting taken out on a stretcher, it's like the guy's been amazing. Like you don't want that to happen. And he was playing perfectly fine last night. They win that game last night, even if the score is 5-4. I'm not sitting here today going, "Oh, you got to look at Joe Woll." Absolutely not. But this is the way the cookie crumbled. Sam Bennett's a dirty asshole, and now it's Joe Woll's net, and we need the version of Joe Woll that I'm talking about, the guy that I think has the super high ceiling, and we've seen it before in the playoffs.
This is an interesting situation, man. I think this could be somewhat disastrous, but also could not be a big deal at all. But this guy has a ton of pressure on him now, man. If he like anything that happened last night, he first of all he had to win the game. Like that was number one. Like they had to, and the team needed to do what they needed to do to have his back too. Like I wasn't gonna sorely lay it on his feet if somehow they blew that game, because that's a really tough spot to be put in. Guys haven't played in a long time, putting him in a massive game. But he's got a ton of pressure on him to come out, because to me, Stolarz has been unbelievable. Are you sitting here worried like there's not a massive drop off between these? No, I'm not worried about skill level. I think Joe Woll can do the job. You've seen what he's done in the playoffs before, even though he's never finished the job. He's always come in and played pretty well, and I do think he's a good goalie. But there's also like sometimes he's like, when a goalie just doesn't play for a long time, it could go one of two ways. He can come in and he can do the job and be great because he's capable of doing it. Or you've seen Joe Woll go on other stretches too where he's not very good, where he's also like lets in clean looks. And it's just like, what version of Joe Woll are you? Like, what clean look has gotten by Stolarz, really?
That's been the difference between the two of them this year, and that's why Stolarz earned the starting job in the playoffs, is he did not have games. There were games this season where we were like, ooh, that wasn't Joe Woll's best night. I don't remember a game all year where we were like, Stolarz wasn't great tonight. That hasn't happened. But there were also games where we came away this year going, Joe Woll was unbelievable.
Yeah, he won them the game. Yeah, no, he is. I hope Joe Woll does well, and this is just another hurdle that's being thrown their way, and this is why it's so important to have a goalie tandem, that you trust both guys. And yeah, Stolarz was the better goalie, but it was still kind of a debate and a conversation of who was going to start in the playoffs. So it's not like we're talking about Elias Samsonov here. Yeah, who unfairly actually gets ragged because he was one of the guys who actually won them a series for once. But, there's been goalies in the past here where you haven't felt 100% confident about their ability to win a playoff game. So it's not that, but it's just, I hope he can just find his groove sooner than later, because if he doesn't, then it's going to be, it's not good. It's really not good. The
concerning thing too, let's just say best case scenario, this isn't something that's going to keep Stolarz on the shelf like long term. It's hard to believe he's going to get back in that net and return exactly to form. It's going to be it's hard, man. Like this is really, really challenging situation for the guy. You just have no idea of predicting what's going to happen with a brain injury like this. You just have no idea.
I think he's done. I think he's done, and he's not just done because of the head injury. It's just, I don't know how bad it is or how long he's going to be out. If you're puking from head, like I've never had a concussion, at least I don't think I haven't. It used to hit me in the head with a frying pan when we were younger, so maybe I had a couple, but
we were really devoted to our pro wrestling matches.
Yeah, exactly. And I didn't put the hands up. I always took it. But so but then even if he does come back, then he's just, again, what I just said about Woll, like you come back over missing some time, it takes you a second to get back in the groove and find your game again. Like when he came back from his little stone in his leg, he wasn't very good for like the first 2 or 3 games. Then he finally got it back on track. But I just, like, to me, it's like, this is Joe Woll's net now. Like this is for as long as they're going to go in this playoffs. I think he's the guy now. It's going to be up to him.
And the thing with Joe Woll too is it's not, and the thing that gives me hope is it's not inconceivable that he goes in there and is lights out and helps them win this series. That is like, you could say it's a 50-50 chance that happens. It's not a scenario where you're putting a guy in there and you're going, holy fuck, are they hard pressed with this guy in the net?
Yeah, like if Dennis Hildeby
shot.
somehow finds the net in this series, like let's just pack it up.
Or like a Matt Murray or something there's not a significant drop off there. It's like, no. We saw the best games they had against Florida 2 years ago was when Joe Woll was in the net. And then last year against Boston,
he was unbelievable last year.
Now he couldn't stay healthy. And I still have a wound of seeing an hour before game time that he wasn't ready to play game 7.
And Sam Bennett's still skating around the ice too. So anything goes.
That's neither here nor there. But it's just... And I also hope that this can be a bit of a rallying cry for the boys. It's like, this is your goalie, this is your teammate. By all accounts of what people have said, he's one of your leaders in that room. And they took a cheap shot at him and took him out of the game. Rally around and go win it for him, man. Like,
yeah, I guess my only thing, it's more of an intangible thing, and it's more of this isn't based in fact or anything. It's just how I feel. I think Stolarz just has this. From the outside looking in, it looks like he just has this kind of more of a fuck you attitude, and just like, this is his time. He's been in the league for a long time. He's a big dude. He's vocal out there. I think he kind of embodies the type of personality that you want this team to have more of. And I just don't think Joe Woll's like that. I think Joe Woll's a little bit different. I don't know. I just don't love the timing of this, but I mean, I believe in Joe Woll. I think he can get the job done. So we'll see if he can find his groove sooner than later. And he has to. He's no choice really. So
and like you and I've said, I think the MVP of this playoff so far has been Craig Berube, and it's on him to get his team refocused today and make sure they're not worked up, and just be like, it's Joe Woll's net. We got to keep doing what we're doing. Dude, defensively, they were amazing again last night. Like, keeping the Panthers to the outside. Like, very rarely did they have like clean looks. The third period, the broadcast was pissing me off a little bit last night, because they were like, oh, well, this looks like a Florida team that's found their rhythm in the third period. It's like, no, the Leafs were rattled after losing their starting goaltender and came out to start the third in lead protecting mode, and they let the Panthers take it to them. And then in the second half of the third, they got back on their horse and started taking the game back to Florida, and then ended up winning and getting the 5th goal to put it away. That's what happened.
It was a weird game from that perspective too. It was, I want to say, like a little bit concerning that after that game, I actually do think that was one of their best playoff games I've ever seen them play. And it was still like right down to that game shouldn't have been as close as it was. Like that kind of made me a little bit nervous that the Panthers are able to just kind of flip a switch quickly and put in 3 goals really fast. Like, that makes me a little bit nervous, that the fact the Leafs played so well and it would end up being a 5-4 game. But I mean, each game's different, but
let's talk a bit before we get out of here. I do think that they need to, I'm not saying it needs an overhaul, but I think they need to tweak their mentality with the power play. They did it a bit last night. They put Riley back on it and took Nyes off.
Yeah, I loved it.
This Florida PK is legit,
aggressive,
and they are very, very aggressive. And I do not believe the Leafs can win this series without scoring a few power play goals.
What were they? 0 for 6 last night?
Yes. Like
that's bad.
Yeah, like
on the average night, that sinks a ship.
100%. So you gotta. They have to savvy, and the savvy meter need to take a look today at what tweaks we can make and be like, because we have to get this. I started off this episode talking about how dirty the Florida Panthers are and what their game plan is. You have to get your power play clicking so they start to so they're afraid of taking penalties now.
Yeah.
Like, you have to get that going. So they're like, maybe I'm not going to run this guy through the boards, because then I'm going to be put in the penalty box for 2 minutes and it's going to cost my team.
When they put Riley back on the power play, that tells me that they are a little bit nervous about protecting the puck on the power play.
Well, they gave up shorties against
the Senators. I think that was the number one reason for that, was they were in a point in the game where a shorty would have just pretty much ended the series, in my opinion, if they tied that game somehow. So I think that was the number one reason why Riley was back out there, to make sure they had a man back there. But What I noticed about the power play last night is they either gotta win. There was a point in each power play when they finally got settled in. They were able to get some chances on net, but that they have to win the faceoff clean in their zone and move the puck to another guy extremely fast to create some space right off the bat. And another thing too is if it's a 50-50 draw, you got to win a puck battle. If you don't win that initial puck battle on the power play, kiss 30 seconds goodbye, because then it's going down the ice.
So they come out tomorrow night for game 2. I think I'm not saying you need to come out and just sort of like see what happens, but I think getting that, as you've said multiple times, getting that game 1 win was so important. I think regardless of what happens tomorrow night, you're happy with a split going back to Florida. You'd absolutely love to go back to Florida up 2-0. So that's obviously the goal, but everybody just settle in tomorrow. And now you've been out there, you've seen what's going to happen. Be ready, man.
I still thought the game was like pretty tame overall, though. Like I didn't. That's the one thing that's actually surprised me the most about 7 games to the playoffs here is I know there was a dirty player or two last night, but there hasn't been like I still thought the game last night was pretty mild in terms of dirtiness.
Well, that's what happens when the Leafs dictate the pace. That's what happens. Is you're able to nullify that kind of stuff because Florida's just trying to keep up with you the entire time.
Yeah, and to a man, just the Leafs can just hit and be more physical.
Exactly.
Like just by the way they've added to their roster, it's not. We don't have Kerfoot out there anymore. We don't have Hall out there anymore. And at least now they actually have guys who can take a hit and dish one out too.
Exactly. All right. So we did a day after game show today. We will be back. We'll be doing a post-game show on Wednesday night after game 2. So hit the like and subscribe button below if you'd like to join us for that. We're fired up today. This was a 10 times more emotional episode than the entire Senators series. I guess we were pretty pissed off after game 5, but
the difference in how I feel right now versus at any point in the Sen series is night and day. I almost like couldn't enjoy that first series. Like I couldn't get into it. I couldn't enjoy it because it was like they had to win. There was no analyzing, no excuse. They had to win that series. Now we're in a playoff series now, and we can get excited.
So, as I said, we will be back for post-game show after game 2. We will also be back for a post-game show after game 3. Hit the like and subscribe button below if you'd like to join us. Again, unbelievable amounts of views, support, comments, engagement through the first round. It's only going to get more heated as we go into the second round. Even those of you who literally go out of your way every week to comment on our video to tell us we're morons, we love you guys too. If you're listening to the audio version, please do the same. Like, subscribe, review.
Spread the word, tell your friends.
We really appreciate it. We will see you after game 2.